Ozzy Osbourne saw a boy crying behind a store. Then everything changed. He saw the boy trembling in the dark alley. And when Ozzy stepped closer, the truth shattered him. If you love Ozzy Osbourne, share this video. Subscribe to Voices of Darkness and help us reach our first 1,000 subscribers. Comment your name so we can use it for a character in the next video. The story begins. The night was colder than usual in Los Angeles. The kind of night where even the streetlights seemed tired, flickering, dimming, fighting the darkness as if the city itself was sighing. Ozzy Osbourne had just stepped out of the back door of a small music shop he'd visited earlier, a place he liked because it still smelled like vinyl records and old guitar strings. He wasn't there for publicity, interviews, or crowds, just quiet, a rare moment of silence. But tonight, silence didn't last long. As Ozzy walked toward his car parked behind the shop, he heard it, a soft, broken sound, a small, muffled cry. At first he thought it was a cat, or maybe just the wind hitting a loose gutter. But then he heard it again, a child's sob. Ozzy stopped. His instincts sharpened. He turned his head toward the sound, and there, behind a rusted dumpster and the shadow of an old brick wall, he saw him, a boy, maybe 10 years old, sitting alone, hugging his knees, crying like the world had ended. Ozzy's heart dropped. He knew heartbreak. He knew loneliness. He knew what it meant to hurt in silence. Slowly, he walked toward the boy, his boots crunching quietly on the gravel. "Hey lad," Ozzy said softly. "What's happened? Why are you out here alone?" The boy flinched at the voice. He wiped his eyes quickly, trying to hide his tears even though they were streaming down his cheeks. When he finally looked up, his eyes widened with shock. "Oh, Ozzy Osbourne." His voice trembled. Ozzy gave a small, gentle smile. But don't let that scare you. I'm just a man, same as anyone. What's your name?" The boy hesitated. "My name is Evan." "That's a strong name," Ozzy said. "Now tell me, Evan, why are you behind this store crying like your heart's breaking?" Evan squeezed his arms tighter around himself, and the shaking in his shoulders grew worse. I didn't know where else to go. I can't go home. Not tonight. Maybe never." That made Ozzy's stomach twist. "Why not?" he asked. The boy lifted his face again, revealing a bruise on his cheek. Fresh, dark, ugly. Ozzy froze. His hands slowly curled into fists. "Who did that to you?" he whispered. Evan didn't answer, but he didn't need to. Ozzy already knew the truth. UNFL Dusazi crouched down so he was level with the boy. "Evan, you're safe with me. Whatever happened, you can tell me." But Evan shook his head desperately. "No. If he finds out I told anyone, he'll hurt my mum. He already..." His voice cracked so violently that Ozzy felt the burn of anger rising in his chest. "Your father?" Ozzy asked quietly. Evan nodded, crying harder now. "He gets angry. All the time. Tonight he threw a bottle and it almost hit my mum. She told me to run. She told me to hide and not come back until she fixed things." Ozzy's breath left him. The memory of his own chaotic childhood flashed through him. The yelling, the fear, the confusion, the uncertainty of love. He sat down beside Evan, letting the boy cry without rushing him. "That shouldn't happen to any child," Ozzy said softly. "Not ever." As they sat in the dim alley, Ozzy took off his coat and gently wrapped it around the trembling boy. The coat swallowed him, making him look even smaller. The boy whispered something. "What was that?" Ozzy asked. "You're the first person who stopped." Ozzy felt something inside him crack open. "Well, lad," he said, "tonight, you picked the right bloke." A decision that changed EVR White Arching. Ozzy reached into his pocket and pulled out his phone. "Evan, I'm not letting you go back there alone. And your mum shouldn't be alone with that man either." Evan stiffened. "No, please don't call the police. He'll get worse." Ozzy placed a steady hand on his shoulder. His voice was calm, steady, stronger than the night air around them. "I'm calling someone who can help. Someone who'll protect you and your mother. This isn't about punishment. This is about safety." Evan's tears slowed. He didn't fully trust the world anymore. But something about Ozzy made him feel like maybe, just maybe, he wasn't alone. Ozzy called a friend he trusted deeply, someone who worked with child protection teams, someone who knew how to act fast, quietly, safely. While they waited, Ozzy kept talking to Evan, telling him stories from his own childhood, from his struggles, from the battles he had fought to become the man he was now. Evan listened, wide-eyed. "You were scared sometimes too?" Evan asked. Ozzy nodded. "More times than I can count. But you know what I learned? Fear doesn't mean you're weak. It means you're still fighting. Evan stared at him like no one had ever said something like that to him before. Rescuing his MOTHR. When Ozzy's contact arrived, they didn't waste a second. Evan showed them the street where he lived, but the boy stopped at the corner. I can't go closer. Ozzy placed his hand gently on his shoulder. You don't have to. I'll go with them. And he did. Ozzy walked straight into that house with the officers behind him. What he saw made his stomach revolt. Broken glass, a smashed lamp, a woman on the floor, breathing but weak, and a man drunk, raging, stumbling, yelling curses no child should ever hear. Before the man could even comprehend what was happening, officers restrained him. Ozzy rushed to Evan's mother. She was bruised, terrified, but alive. Ozzy Osbourne, she whispered in disbelief. Yes, love, he said gently. Your boy's safe. You're safe now too. She began to cry, not from fear, but from relief, and then she whispered something Ozzy would never forget. Please, thank him. He saved us. A new BGI 9 hours later, at a safe shelter far from danger, Evan sat beside his mother, holding her hand like he never wanted to let go. Ozzy stood at the doorway, watching them with a soft smile. He didn't want to intrude. He didn't need thanks, but Evan saw him. He ran toward Ozzy, throwing his arms around him with all the force his small body had. Thank you, Evan whispered. You saved my life. Ozzy held him tightly, swallowing hard. You saved your own life, lad. You were brave enough to run. I just helped you finish the journey. Evan pulled back and looked up at him. Will I ever see you again? Ozzy knelt and placed a gentle hand on his cheek. You'll see me whenever you're strong, whenever you face something dark and walk through it anyway. That's what strength looks like. That's what you are. Evan smiled for the first time that night, and in that moment, Ozzy felt something change in himself too. A reminder of why kindness mattered, why stepping in was powerful, why one small act could change an entire family's life. The ending with your required CTA and so, that night, behind a store, everything changed for Evan, for his mother, and for Ozzy himself. A child's tears turned into courage. A stranger became a protector, and a broken family found hope in the most unexpected way. If you love Ozzy Osbourne, share this video now, and prove your love. Subscribe to Voices of Darkness, and help us reach 1,000 subscribers. Comment your name. We will use your name for a character in the next story.